Hello, and welcome to this special workshop hosted by the PKD Foundation of Canada. We're so glad you've joined us for this opportunity to reflect and find moments of peace and hope. The guide for this reflection is Vicki Cousins, a compassionate and experienced hospice chaplain and therapist. Vicki has dedicated her career to supporting individuals and families through life challenges, offering tools for healing, resilience, and growth. Her warm, thoughtful approach has brought comfort to many, and we're honored to have her guide us through this session. Before we get started, we invite you to gather together a few items that you'll need for this guided reflection: a journal or paper that you can draw and write on, a small candle, like a tea light, and a heat-proof glass container to put it in, plus a way of lighting the candle. Vicki will invite you to light the candle at one point during the session. Then find a quiet, comfortable space where you won't be interrupted for the next 45 minutes. If at any point you'd like to revisit a specific part of the workshop or skip ahead, we've included timestamps in the video description to make it easier to navigate. This is your time to reflect, to be present, and care for yourself. There's no right or wrong way to participate. Simply follow along in the way that feels best for you. Thank you for being here with us. Let's begin.
I'm here to offer you this time of prayer, ritual, meditation, and reflection. Grief is the pain we experience when there's a loss in our lives. We feel it emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, behaviorally, and socially. Grief changes us, our lives, and our world. In preparation for this evening's gathering, I spent time with a friend who has been diagnosed with PKD and is now on dialysis, and his wife. They offered me some insight into their challenges, losses, feelings, and hopes. I listened to their concerns about their family and trying to put up a good front, their loss of freedom and spontaneity, changes in body image, dietary restrictions, drug effects, constant fatigue, relationship changes, financial challenges, and uncertainty. There is no cure, my friend said. So I ask, how long will I live? This evening we have gathered from many places, each of us bringing our own story, our own sorrow, pain, and or life challenge or diagnosis. As we look around us, we see decorated trees, brilliant lights, gifts wrapped in delicate bows, ribbon and colorful wrappings. And for many people, the most wonderful time of the year is not a joy-filled time. During a season when the world seems filled with joy and festivities, many of us find ourselves feeling more isolated and overwhelmed than we ever have before. Rather than feeling festive, we may be feeling sad and lonely, and we are grieving. What we have once enjoyed is no longer. This is especially true for those of us who will be experiencing our first holiday without our loved ones. In truth, the holidays come from the heart and the soul, not the store. And so we feel like the heart of the holiday is broken. Over and over again, I hear people say, the holiday season is difficult. I find this the hardest time of the year. So many expectations, so much busyness. Why do I feel so sad and so heavy? Why do I feel myself sinking into the darkness of past sorrows, losses, and memories? What will the future bring? We have all sat in the place where hope seemed cut off, where loss and despair deadened our hearts. We yearn for the light to dispel the darkness. Special occasions intensify our pain and struggle. And so we are gathered here this evening in a safe place where we can share our burdens, our sadness, and our fear, where we can gain courage, feel deep peace, and see a glimmer of hope. So a theme and image for us this evening is naming this season as the coming of the light. During these dark December days, many faiths and spiritualities celebrate the coming of the light. In Jewish homes, menorah candles will be burning brightly for Hanukkah as a symbol of light, wisdom, and divine inspiration. The menorah is a reminder to always shine our inner light, both internally and externally. In the Christian faith, Advent is a time of anticipation and preparation for the birth of Christ, marked by an Advent wreath, a circle of evergreens with 4 candles. Beginning with the 4th Sunday before Christmas Day, the first of the 4 candles is lit, the candle of hope, with additional candles of peace, joy, and love lit on each subsequent Sundays. By the last Sunday of Advent, all 4 candles are ablaze. The lighting of candles is also important during Kwanzaa, the 7-day festival that begins this year on December 26th and honors African American culture. During Kwanzaa, a special candle holder called a kinara is used to hold 7 candles, 3 red ones, 3 green ones, and a black one in the center. Each night during Kwanzaa, a candle is lit. For pagans, the holiday known as Yule takes place on or near December 21st, the winter solstice, the longest night of the year. As a celebration of the returning light of the sun, the most important part of any Yule observance is the lighting of candles, bonfires, and the ever-important Yule log, which traditionally was a large log brought into the house and kept burning throughout the 12 days of Christmas. Diwali, the Hindu festival of light, took place on October 31st through November 1st, and Buddhist awakening celebrations happen during the month of December. So many, many examples of this time of year. Here we are at the end of November, moving into December as the season of the coming of the light. In addition to the image of light this time of year, I'd like to speak this evening and share with you the image of the tree. The tree is one of our most powerful symbols. It is the embodiment of life, the point of union of the 3 realms, heaven, earth, and water, and a world access around which the entire universe is organized. Ancient peoples widely believed the tree to be infused with an abundance of divine creative energy. Evergreen trees universally stand for longevity and immortality, while deciduous trees represent regeneration and rebirth. The Celtic people called this image the tree of life. Pre-Christian peoples who lived in the far north and who suffered the loss of light and life with the disappearance of the sun had a way of wooing back life and hope. As the days grew shorter and colder and the sun threatened to abandon the earth, these ancient people's solution was to bring all ordinary action and daily routine to a halt. They gave in to the nature of winter, came away from their fields, and put away their tools. They removed the wheels from their carts and their wagons, festooned them with greens and lights, and brought them indoors to hang in their hallways. They brought the wheels indoors as a sign of a different time, a time to stop and turn inward. They engaged the feelings of cold, fear, and loss. Slowly, slowly, they wooed the sun god back. Light followed darkness, and with it the recovery of hope, which can only be accomplished when we have had the courage to stop and wait and engage fully in the winter of our dark longing. Powerful image, isn't it? That's some of the history of why we decorate at this time of year with trees and with all the wreaths and beautiful lights that we have indoors and out. I'd now like to invite you, hopefully you have a piece of paper there handy, to engage in a little exercise with me. And I'm going to lead you through it slowly so that you can take your time as a means of sort of stopping and resting for a moment and just taking your time and giving yourself that gift. So I'm going to ask you to please draw on your piece of paper an autumn tree. Don't worry, you're the only one who's going to see it. And that tree is to symbolize yourself. So I'm just going to give you a moment to just sketch a tree on your piece of paper. Make it a nice size if you can. Your tree and your grief are as unique as you are. Grief is a natural healing process, like the cycles of the seasons. It's important to give ourselves permission to grieve and to be patient with ourselves. As I name each part of the tree, I invite you to reflect on the following questions. You may choose to write your responses on that part of the tree or just write words anywhere on your page or draw if you prefer, whatever you feel most comfortable with. So I'll just give you a moment and make sure you have your tree in front of you. All right. So we're going to start with the roots of our tree. Who and what roots you in times of significant change and loss? Who or what? I'm just going to read these slowly so it gives you a little bit of time. Who and what provides you with nourishment and vitality? Who or what provides you with nourishment and vitality? What nourishment do you need in this moment? Are you eating well? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you walking or exercising? Perhaps your roots are grounded in a faith tradition or a spirituality or a community like this one, or a close network of family and friends. Now the trunk of our tree. Grief is a strength, not a weakness. It takes energy and courage to grieve. The word courage comes from the word cœur, the French word, which means heart. It takes time, patience, and love to heal and to grow. What are your strengths? What are your strengths? Where do you draw strength? Where do you draw strength? Like sap running through your tree trunk, what new life is being channeled into and through you? For some, it's new ways of doing things and seeing things as they face challenges and pain. Finding a new perspective, perhaps. New hope. Now our leaves. People speak of grief in images of a maze, a stream, a wound, a jigsaw puzzle, a falling leaf, or a broken heart. Many books have been written, pictures painted, and songs composed that express and share grief. The leaves of an autumn tree are a symbol of letting go and a symbol of surrender. What do you feel called to let go of? What will you choose to let go of? Maybe as we approach this holiday season, we will choose to let go of unrealistic expectations of ourselves and others. Okay. Maybe you will choose to carry on one holiday tradition rather than several, or find and create new rituals that are deeply meaningful for you and for your loved ones. New ways of doing and being. I remember the year that I decided I no longer needed to do all the holiday baking myself. I could let go of that. And let go of that. There's lots of places where you can buy delicious shortbread. The bark of your tree. Who or what protects you and comforts you? Who or what protects you and comforts you? Who is a good listener? Who is non-judgmental, respectful, and loving? Who will sit with you in your grief and your sadness and listen? It's one of the greatest gifts, I believe, we give to each other. What do I need others to understand about what I need to refrain from? What do I need to express to others? To say, this is what I'm capable of right now. This is what I'm able to do. Is it okay for you to ask for help? It's hard for a lot of people, especially if they've been caregivers. It's hard to open to receive from others. Are you able to set healthy boundaries and limitations and say no sometimes? Okay. Be careful of the word should. When you hear yourself saying, I should do this, or I should do that. A friend of mine says we should take that word out of our vocabulary. Yeah. To honor and respect ourselves. That's a form of protection, isn't it? Okay. All right. What are you doing to help you work through the tasks of grieving? This is part of your bark. Perhaps a gratitude journal or a memory book or sharing stories, meditation, music, art, connecting with nature, inspirational reading, finding a spiritual director, grief counselor, or grief support group. Most importantly, find what works for you. It's different for everyone. Mhm. The buds on our tree, they are at the ends of the branches. We can see them even in the winter. And they represent the promise of new life, even when it is not the new life you once imagined. What is your hope? What is your hope? Can you begin to rebuild a sense of self and meaning in the pain? It is possible. Mhm. The buds remind us that remarkable things can happen, like reconciliation or forgiveness, understanding, and new growth. That we can create a renewed sense of energy, even with all that we're facing, or try something new. We can learn to enjoy life again and establish new and healthy relationships. Meet new friends along the way. The people in our community who get it, who understand what we're going through, because they're walking in shoes that are similar to our own. Right? Not our shoes, but similar ones. We come to know intimately that the pain of loss is an inherent part of life that results from the ability to give and receive love. We do not get over grief, but instead are able to acknowledge that this is my new reality, and I am ultimately the one who must work to create new meaning and purpose in my life. Self-compassion is honoring yourself, trusting your own inner voice, taking care of yourself so you can be there for others. Believing that you will continue to hold both sadness and fear in one hand and hope and trust in the other. Developing a capacity to be compassionate with oneself when normal resurgence of intense grief occurs, like holidays, anniversaries, and other special occasions, is essential. I would like to share a beautiful quote about self-compassion that was written by Sharon Salzberg in her book called Loving Kindness, The Revolutionary Art of Happiness. And Sharon is a Buddhist, that's her background, and this is what she writes. The practice of metta, uncovering the force of love that can uproot fear, anger, and guilt, begins with befriending ourselves. The foundation of metta practice is to know how to be our own friend. According to the Buddha, she writes, you can search throughout the entire universe for someone who is more deserving of your love and affection than you are yourself. And that person is not to be found anywhere. You, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. For those that are coming out of the Christian background or faith tradition, I heard many, many times people say, love your neighbor as yourself. And people always seem to understand and practice the love your neighbor, but they often forgot about the as yourself part. The need for us to replenish that well inside, to fill ourselves up with love and compassion so that we can indeed share that with others. It helps us to not feel overextended and resentful sometimes and sad because we're exhausted. Right? To keep replenishing the well. Self-compassion is being gentle with yourself, recognizing that we are not taught about grief, and for most of us, we don't know much about it until we're faced with it. We can find ways to discover meaning and purpose, release the pressure of our emotions, and accept our new and changed world. True healing happens when we feel our grief deeply, when we are surrounded by a community of love and support, people who gently tell us that it's okay to feel all of our feelings. We don't need to hear platitudes or be told that all of this happened for a reason. We all need to feel and to know deep within us that we are not alone, that there is love and compassion enfolding each one of us. While on tour of California's giant sequoia trees, The guide pointed out that the roots are just barely below the surface. Someone exclaimed, "That's impossible. If the roots don't go deep into the earth, strong winds will blow the trees over." And the guide replied, "Not sequoia trees. They grow only in groves, and their roots intertwine under the surface of the earth. So when the strong winds come, they hold each other up." We are like the giant sequoias. None of us do it alone. Family, friends, neighbors, our faith community perhaps, and other groups can be havens so that when the strong winds of life blow, these people serve as reinforcement and resiliency. We strive together to hold each other up. And we come to know that the hands of the divine, in whatever language, belief system you have, our parents, our children, our family, our friends, our teachers, our communities, all who remind us of how loved we are and how our lives and our faith are intertwined, just like the roots of the sequoia trees. Tonight, we asked you if you would bring a glass bowl of some kind and a tea light with you. And we're now going to share in our ritual of candle lighting. This bowl represents your sadness, your loss, and your grief that can feel heavy and dark. So I'm now going to invite all of us to light our candle and place it in our bowl. As you place your candle in your bowl, it is a symbol of the light of your love within you and all around you. The light in the darkness shines for all who feel abandoned, forgotten, or alone. Our flames bring forth a light that represents a beacon of hope and peace for both us and our loved ones. It is my hope that you'll light your candle every day to remind you that you're not alone. It will help you to find your way in the coming days and weeks and months to come. I've shared this ritual in person with a group of sometimes over 100 people, so you can imagine what that looks like when all of the candles are lit in the empty bowls. It's very beautiful. I have one more image to share with you tonight. If we look high into the trees on these late November and December days, we can see nests resting in the bare branches. As we prepare our homes and hearts for the coming of the light, we are creating a dwelling place, a warm, well-hollowed, hospitable place where the presence of the divine can be felt. For those who come maybe perhaps from the Christian tradition, each of us becomes a Mary and a Joseph who welcomes the child into the world, giving birth to God's promise of hope, peace, joy, and love. The word Advent means coming. It's a time of waiting, of yearning, and of hoping. The dark times in my own life have moved me to reassess, redirect, and recreate. And I ask myself, especially at this time of year, what is being born in me during this season of the coming of the light? What is being born in me during this season? Is it a new hope, a new perspective, a reconciliation? What is it? To see my world with new eyes, right? Have a new vision or purpose for my life. What is being born in me? My prayer for all of us is that our grief might move through us gently. And with time, our pain will soften and come to rest in a quiet corner of our heart. I pray that we will be kind to ourselves. I pray that you may feel the presence of the Spirit in whatever form that takes for you, with renewed purpose and meaning, and that the divine's unconditional love is felt in times of joy and celebration, and in our hurts and in our struggles. May the light of the divine and source of all life be born again in you and in me this holiday season. This light can never be extinguished, for this light is love, and love never ends. Let us take a moment to be still and listen for our breathing. For with each breath, we breathe in peace and calm. And know that the fire that dances lightly on the tip of our candles is a sign of the fire of love within our hearts. That fire will burn as long as the stars shine. So if you feel comfortable, I invite you to join me in this prayer and to unite our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our souls together. Let us pray. O Holy One of hope and healing, you are with us in every moment, in every tear, in every gesture of kindness. In and through it all, You sustain us. You shape us. You feed us. You walk with us as companion. In mysterious and hidden ways, you teach us the meaning of compassion. You grant us a vision of the mightiest trees, whose trunks have weathered many storms. Creator of the mighty oak and evergreen, you are our strength, our strong roots, our very ground of being, source of all life. Fill us this night, we pray, with the strength to be flexible and evergreen. Create within us a heart that is both gentle and bold, so that when we feel blown about by the strong winds of life, we will stand strong and draw upon your love and compassion for us. Creator of all, as the tree gives shelter and shade to its friends of fur and feather, so may we help those among us and throughout the whole world who suffer. Those who need to feel our comfort and support. We pray for a world in need of healing and peace. Just as the tree sends down roots deep into the soil, that it may be nourished by Mother Earth, we remember that the dark is rich in mystery and promise, and dreams of the light to come. May we be your cedar trees of peace. Blessings be. I want to thank you so much for joining me here this evening. I hope that I've shed a little light into this season for us and encourage you to remember that as the ancients stopped and turned inward, they engaged the feelings of cold, fear, and loss. Slowly, slowly, they wooed the sun god back, and light followed. May nature also inspire us on the winter solstice on December 21st, with the promise of daylight gradually increasing with the coming of the light. Thank you, everyone, and many blessings to all of you.
Thank you for joining us in this guided reflection. We hope that you found it helpful on your journey. If you'd like to contact the PKD Foundation of Canada about anything to do with polycystic kidney disease, you can reach us at endpkd@endpkd.ca and find information about PKD on our website, endpkd.ca.